And welcome to Just for Kicks. I am the host of the show, Michael Buckheister. And on today's show, we're going to talk about Kansas State Wildcats. We're going to talk about if it's a time for Bill Snyder just to step away from the game, step away from the team, step away from life in general. And also, got the sports birthday of the day. And we also got my picks for bets later on today. All that and much more right after the intro.
Put your pinky rings up to the moon. Girls, what y'all trying to do? 24 karat magic in the air. Head to toe, so clear. Look out.
And that is exactly what Bill Snyder was for the Kansas State Wildcats back in 1989 when he did take over a very struggling university as a football program. I believe they used to call them back in the day Fertility U. It was a very ugly. They had a total of 200 wins in the it was 200 wins in the 1,000 games that they played previously. They had a winning percentage of a little under 20%. So the topic of today's podcast is Bill Snyder and the Kansas State Wildcats. Is it time for him to step away from the team? And before I get into that, I really want to just clarify that as a Kansas State Wildcat fan myself, I really do appreciate Bill Snyder giving us what he given us over the last, 26, 27 years. But before I get into anything, before I want to get anything at all, I want to give the history of Bill Snyder and his coaching career. He did start as a grad assistant at USC in 1966. He was there for his year. He learned how to coach. He learned how to be just the coach that he is back in the early 90s. From there, he did coach at a local high school in 1974 as a head coach. They did not give me the school name. Sorry, I don't have that information. But after that 1 year, he did become an assistant coach for a football program down in Texas. He was the assistant football coach / swimming coach from 74 to 75. In 1976, that football season, he became an assistant coach at North Texas State. He was there for 2 years before traveling with his Hall of Fame coach. His name's slipping my mind right now. I had it wrote down, but it's slipping my mind. He transferred to Iowa to become the OC, and he was there for 10 years. And then in 1989, he becomes the head coach at Kansas State. In 1991, he got his first taste of victory, taste of success in Wildcat land, leading them to their first bowl game ever in school's history. From that point on till he first retired in 2005, he had a 67% winning percentage. They were great. It was very fun to be a Wildcat fan from 91 till about 2004, 2005 when he did retire the first time. Between 1997 and 2003, we had 6 11-win seasons. We were 11-1, 11-2. 6 of those 7 seasons, we had 11 wins. That one season that we did not, we were 6-6. So just to give you some insights, that hasn't been done in college football since. Like I said, then he did retire in 2005. In that time frame, he had 2 Big 12 championships. He was 2-5 in the championship game, so he did go there 7 times as a coach, only winning 2. Also, they did go to 19 bowl games in his career so far. In those bowl games, he is 9-10. Like I said, he did retire in 2005. Was going off in the sunset, having a great time. Kansas State hired a coach by the name of Ron Prince. He was there for four years. People at Kansas State were just not happy. Bill Snyder wasn't happy, apparently. He comes back in 2009. 2009, 2010, it was kind of a rebuilding year, 5-4, 6-6. And then he gets Kansas State back to the promised land in 2012 when they go to play the Fiesta Bowl versus Oregon. Since then, it's been mediocrity in Manhattan, and we have gotten used to it. Just to add to his accolades here, he does have a solid coaching tree as well. In his tenure at Kansas State, he has had 12 coaches that have eventually become head coaches at a college or in the NFL at some point. Some notable ones is Bob Stoops. He was a staple at Oklahoma for years, and then Rex Ryan with the Jets and Bills in the NFL. I say all this just to give the man props. He single-handedly made the greatest turnaround in NCAA football history. He has single-handedly made Manhattan, Kansas what it is, a football town. He single-handedly brought a program from Fertility U to, being ranked number one in the country many years from in that 96 to 2003, 2004 time frame. But it is time for Bill Snyder to leave Manhattan, Kansas. The reason for this is he is not the Bill Snyder that we all used to know. He is not the Bill Snyder that we've grown to love. He is not the Bill Snyder that kids would absolutely die for to play for him. 2 weeks ago, he threw a player under the bus. First time in modern history that I can think of that Bill Snyder has thrown a player under the bus. He said, and I quote, "We had one player, one bad play that cost us a game." As a head coach of a football team, you cannot say that. This is when I said Bill Snyder is off his fucking rocker. This man needs to get his head on straight and figure out what the hell he's doing. This guy is 80 years old. He's been coaching since 66. Okay, guys? 1966 was when he started coaching. I'm 30 years old. My mom and dad were little babies when he started coaching. Like, take that in perspective. Most of our demographic here is 25 to 35-year-old range. That's 67% of us males. And I appreciate you guys watching it. And everybody else, I appreciate you guys listening to as well. But our parents, I'm speaking as a majority to the podcast listeners here, our parents were little kids when Bill Snyder started coaching. Okay? Little kids when he started coaching. Like I said, this man is 80 years old. He battled throat cancer two years ago. I believe it's in remission now. But it is time for Bill Snyder to leave Manhattan, Kansas. It is time for him to hang up the cleats, they say, or hang up the whistle. Yes, he did just sign another 5-year deal for the Wildcats. I believe it was like $4 million or $5 million or something. It's pretty good amount of like money. But it is time. I know as Wildcats fans, we love Bill Snyder on the sideline. We have a highway named after him. We have the stadium named after him. Manhattan, Kansas is Snyderland. Let's face it. When you think Kansas State football, you think Bill Snyder. In 2015, I believe it was, Bill Snyder was inducted to the Hall of Fame. At that point, it was probably time for him to right off into the sunset. Ever since then, he has not been on the recruiting trail because he can't. He's 80 years old. It is hard for an 80-year-old to travel all over the country and recruit. He is not out there coaching anymore. I've heard reports of players don't even know who he is outside his name on Saturday afternoon in front of the crowd. So, sorry, Bill Snyder. I respect you. You know, you've been coaching at Kansas State since I was a young pup. It was my dream to play for you, even though I never got the chance to. You were retired by the time I was able to play college ball, and my playing career was done by the time you came back. And just as a fan, I applaud everything that you've done. I applaud you for giving us great games in the 90s and early 2000s. I thank you for building up our wonderful football stadium the way it looks today. If you guys haven't been to Kansas State games, their stadium is beautiful. All limestone. It's brand new. You know, they're consistently upgrading it every year. It is a beautiful facility, beautiful weight room. There's a rowing center next to it. Everything Bill Snyder has done for the stadium, for the college, for the town, I cannot thank him enough, being from that area. But, Bill, it's time for you to go. Yes, sorry. Hang them up. Move on. Right off into the sunset. Live your final days in Manhattan, Kansas as the god that you are. And just be great, man. Like, just stop holding Kansas State hostage. Let them excel. Let them hire a big name coach. Stop cock blocking them. Let me retract here. For those that you guys don't know, back in 2017, Kansas State was going to hire a coach. The name is slipping my mind right now, so let me look it up for you real fast here. But basically what happened was Bill Snyder did not quote unquote approve this trade or approve this hire. This man was supposed to be hired as a coach in waiting. He was going to be the offensive coordinator for the year, and Bill Snyder just didn't approve of it. Jim Leavitt was the guy's name. He was from Colorado at the time. He was a defensive coordinator. Leavitt was supposed to replace Bill Snyder following the conclusion of the 2017 season, and he would be named the head coach on or before January 1st, because if he wasn't, he would be owed $3 million. That was in his contract, etc. Before that happened, Bill Snyder said, "No, I'm going to come back. I want to coach 5 more years." Basically meaning that he wanted just to push any leverage that, you know, Kansas State had of getting a great coach, because he wants his son to take over for him, Sean Snyder. He wants current special teams coordinator Sean Snyder to become the next head coach at Kansas State University. I don't know why. I don't know much about Sean Snyder, but I do know that, I mean, he is a Snyder, so he has to know how to coach, I guess. I mean, he's been on the staff since 2005, so he was there before, you know, his dad came back. Nonetheless, it's time to move on, Bill. Kansas State, hire a big name coach. Hire somebody. Les Miles. Make a splash. Make Kansas State football great again. Okay, that's all I'm going to stay right there. So, moving on today's podcast, we have we're basically going to break the show up into kind of a 4-segment type thing. We're going to have the main topic that we just went to. Then we're going to come into the sports birthday of the day. Today's sports birthday is Buck O'Neil. Buck O'Neil was a Major League Baseball player. He played for the Kansas City Monarchs. He was the first black Major League Baseball coach or manager, however you want to call them. But today is his birthday, and we just want to wish Buck O'Neil a happy birthday, man. Happy birthday from the Just for Clicks podcast crew here, and have a great day. To finish up today's show, we're going to do some picks. I am a betting man, so each day I'm going to go through the certain sports. We're going to start with NBA, got college football, college basketball, NFL, and I'm going to pick 3 games, and I'm going to give you my picks on these games. And today we're going to start with the association. There are 3 games going on tonight. You have Charlotte at Cleveland with a +7. Cleveland's horrible. Cleveland is easily the worst team in the NBA. I don't know what's going on there, but they are ugly. Ugly. Give me Charlotte. Houston at Denver. On my paper here, I had Houston wrote down. I'm going to have to flip on you guys. Give me the Nuggets. Next up, Atlanta versus Golden State. Golden State is coming off a back-to-back. They did play an overtime game versus the Clippers last night. Give me a second here. I apologize. There is some friction going on between Draymond Green and Kevin Durant about who is the man when Steph Curry is out. Give me Atlanta. Give me the Hawks. Man. Moving on to college football tonight. We have Buffalo at Ohio. Buffalo is allowing 328 yards a game. Ohio is giving up 413 yards a game. Offenses are both the same. They're both averaging about 400 yards a game. But I've been going back and forth on this game as well. Give me the road team. Give me the Buffalo. Give me Buffalo. Next game up on the docket. Miami of Ohio at Northern Illinois. This is a very, very evenly matched. Both giving up about 350 yards a game. Both averaging 350 yards a game. Win-loss records are identical. Give me the home team. Northern Illinois. Mark it down. Moving on to the college hardwood here. It's November. It's hard to find good matchups after that first championship week there. You had UK, Duke, Kansas, Michigan State. It's a weeknight. It's Tuesday. Not a lot of games happening. But I did pull out a couple games. I have Memphis at number 22 LSU. Give me LSU. Memphis is 1-0, but they struggled against a no-name team. Give me LSU. Next up, possibly the game of the night on FS1, we have Wisconsin at Xaiver. Most of the experts are picking Xaiver. Give me Wisconsin on the road. Upset. This Trace guy for Wisconsin, 21 points last game. Last season, he averaged roughly around 22 points a game. I see him going off tonight in a big game, in an upset, 25-plus points. Give me Wisconsin. And as always, guys, that's all I got for today. I'll be back tomorrow. Same exact format that we had today. We'll have my take for the day. Then we'll have a sports birthday. And then we'll have the picks of the day. Wednesday's going to be like a little rough. Wednesday's not a really good sport picking day. It is hard. It is hard to pick NBA games middle of the week. But we'll get it. As always, be sure to follow the podcast. Be sure to leave a comment. Tell me what's up. Give me your picks as well. But this is just for clicks. Have a nice day.